Hello, listeners. Thanks for joining another episode of the Skin I'm In podcast. I'm your host, Chanel, and this is a place where women can tune in to gain peace through clarity, purpose through inspiration, and the permission to be themselves through the stories of other women. If you're enjoying these episodes so far, click the like, share, and subscribe button so that more women like you can be positively impacted by the stories in this podcast. My guest today is an ex-OnlyFans recruiter turned ambassador for women, advocating and speaking out on the dangers of our overly sexualized culture and warning young women about the pitfalls of selling themselves online for validation. Melbourne born and raised, her background is in startups and marketing, and her mission through her company Creating Gems is to break the cycle of self-objectification and foster a culture where understanding one's worth, cultivating authenticity and individuality are celebrated and encouraged. My guest is an educator, a public speaker, a consultant and marketing expert. She's a sister. She's a loving auntie. She is Victoria Sinis. Welcome to the podcast, Victoria.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So it's been over a year now since you were at the OnlyFans agency. Can you tell the listeners what OnlyFans is and what you did there in your capacity as the person leading the marketing function?
Yeah. So for those people that aren't aware, I used to work for this thing called an OnlyFans agency. So for those who maybe even have heard about OnlyFans or they're not 100% sure of what that is, basically it's the new era in pornography. I'm 26 years old, and especially in my generation, this is really glorified. It's seen as women's liberation. It's seen as a positive. It's seen as this is the thing that you can make a lot of money on. And I was under that guise as well, I guess, a little bit. So I had a very close personal friend of mine ask me to help build their agency. And so basically, an agency is what will run someone's OnlyFans account on their behalf, just to put it really simple. And so that's where I was for a period of time. I was basically marketing and recruiting girls to go on to OnlyFans. And my role and responsibility was to try and make girls as viral as possible. So then we could get as many subscribers as possible, which in turn would make us money. And so that's kind of where this journey began.
We were talking offline about some of the things that you used to do in the role to make the content for these girls more engaging. What were some of the tactics being used to, lure in more paid subscribers?
Yeah. So one of the roles and responsibilities I had was, as said, the marketing division. So basically, what that means, again, if you think of this like a business, you need to pull in people from somewhere to be able to get them onto the platform. They're called subscribers. So what we would do is basically we would ask the girls to do at least 3 to 5 TikTok accounts. And the reason for that is because on these TikTok accounts, we actually had hired an expert, and this expert would study algorithms and trends and all of these things. So every single day, this expert was sending us very specific, curated, and provocative content. And it had trending sounds, trending songs, trending skits, whatever it was, for these girls to recreate. And the whole point of that was for virality. So we're getting these girls every single day across all these different accounts to create at least 5 videos per account. Now, for anyone that knows anything about TikTok, you can't actually post this exact same video on more than one account. So these were 20 unique videos every single day that these girls were having to post. And again, the whole point of that is virality. There was one girl that we were getting to do this for about 7 days, this specific technique, and one of her videos got 2.2 million views. So the whole point of that is just to kind of show that if one agency in Australia is pumping out mass content on this level of very sexualized, provocative content. We're putting it on TikTok. We're putting it on Instagram. We were selling girls promoting girls, sorry, on Reddit, on Twitter, on Snapchat, dating apps, any type of platform you can think of. Girls are getting promoted with this sexualized content to try and circle back to OnlyFans. And the reason why this is done is a couple of reasons. So number one, as mentioned, to get subscribers. The more people you get to subscribe to these girls, the more money you get. But also, this is soft influencing our culture. Because if you're seeing all these girls go super viral, you're actually subconsciously training young girls or women to think, okay, this is someone who is liked, rewarded, and loved in society. Therefore, I want to be like that. And it continues the cycle. And then for young men, it's showing, oh, this is what a desirable woman is. Therefore, I want to see more of the girl, but also this is now subconsciously what I think women should be like. And so it continues on the cycle. So that's basically a very brief breakdown of the psychology and a little bit of what was done at a marketing perspective for an OnlyFans agency.
I already feel emotional by all of that. And you've called out some really alarming stats on your Instagram. I'm going to read some of them out because they shocked me when I read them. So 56% of divorces involve one partner having an obsessive interest in pornography. Almost 90% of OnlyFans users were married. The average male OnlyFans user is white, married, and heterosexual. 1 in 10 porn consumers are losing their job over their habits, and 33% of internet porn is child porn, which absolutely broke my heart, right? Being that porn has become so acceptable in our culture and almost like a rite of passage for men, it seems like, in their most important years of development and connection. What are your thoughts or findings on the impact pornographic sites are having on the mental well-being of men and women, young men and women especially?
Yeah. It's totally warping reality. It's totally warping people's perceptions of relationships, the expectancy in relationships. Again, a lot of young men, because their sex education is porn and it's such a young age. It's a really multi-leveled answer, to be honest with you. But just to start off with men are getting exposed at a younger age to porn, which means they're getting desensitized quicker because the more you watch it, the more you're desensitized, the more full on it needs to be to have that satisfactory reaction, because porn actually works in the same way as drugs. And as we all know, if you continue to consume drugs, you need more. So it's the exact same thing. So we're seeing in this generation young men watching extreme hardcore porn, and they're actually expecting that now from girls and expecting them to be that way and thinking that that's what a realistic representation of a woman is. And then on the flip, you have these young girls that are being now pressured to act these ways, to look like these people. Because again, young boys are seeing this earlier, that's their expectation. But then because we reward and idolized hyper over sexual women, they think that that's actually how they have to be. So relationships are kids are having sex younger. It's more full on sex younger. As well, they're acting out things. I'm hearing now a lot of child on child abuse is actually sibling abuse, because now young children are seeing this and are curious and wanting to act it out with their siblings. And then as well, sexual assault rates, the highest is actually 15 to 18-year-old men. So now they're our highest perpetrators. So you're seeing that this is having a real consequence on our kids just from that example. But then also in relationships, there's greater dissatisfaction in relationships, higher mental health rates, depressions, anxieties, and all of these things. So porn as a whole is having such a destructive impact on our society in multi generations and in so many levels that it's bleeding into our culture.
Listen to the full episode at the Skin I'm In podcast channel on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.